Wild isn't just a backdrop, it's the origin. अब बोलो कुछ बोलना तो नहीं बोलना
काफी smooth smooth transition.
Welcome to episode 3 of Building a Brand Season 2. In the last chapter, we explored how Jurassic Fruit would come alive visually. Through mood boards, explorations, and creative debates, we arrived at a bold direction for Jurassic: Untamed Roots. But defining a direction is only the beginning. In this episode, we face the next challenge. How do you translate an idea as instinctive and primal as Untamed Roots into a complete visual identity? From our first logo explorations to defining the core identity system to building a photography direction, this episode is about turning vision into something you can see and feel. The Simple Plan team began at the first tangible foundation of the brand, the logo.
The logo of the brand is the primary identity mark through which people recognize it with.
It's one of those things that people look at the very first interaction. So getting the logo right, which kind of communicates the ethos of the brand, is important.
A good way to think about a logo is that it should encapsulate the personality of the brand.
Yeah, and as we proceed ahead, after the logo is done, then the complete story of the brand comes through the branding elements that are surrounding the logo. So in a sense, great logos are simple, memorable, and timeless.
So we wanted to present different logo types and we wanted to explore a bit more. But the client wanted us to retain the Durian fruit.
The Durian logo for me will always be on my top personally.
I would say also.
Designing the logo for this specific brand is a little different because it's a rebrand essentially. So an important aspect that we have to keep in mind is we don't have to alienate the existing consumers. So retaining or modifying the current logo could be important in this process. We are going to explore more options. And we are also going to explore options with the Durian fruit. It shows the client both the sides, something that retains the current brand and doesn't lose it in its entirety, and another direction that could give them a fresh start.
The challenge was clear: to retain the essence of the existing Jurassic logo, a mark that people already recognized. So the Simple Plan team got to work. What followed was a deep dive into structure, form, and meaning, sketching, redrawing, testing proportions, exploring how far we could push without losing what made it familiar. As the team refined the durian shape, they also explored other variations that captured the essence of Jurassic Fruit.
So yeah, this one, it's kind of very raw right now. It's kind of very rough, I would say. But it's a good concept to present. I only think that because it does match the Durian form, which the founders did kind of gravitate towards a lot.
It closely resembles their existing logo as well. It looks very structured. The only problem is that it seems like a first level thought. The brand's ethos is that we want to be explorative, want to show the wild side. So this is what it fails to capture.
Like, it also looks borderline generic, I would say, because like it's just looking like any other fruit icon that we would see.
But can be refined further. So if they like it, probably there's a lot that we can do to improve this concept.
The second one is a lot more on the abstract end now. I quite like how it has turned out in terms of the current shape. It is a lot modern. It's different than what you see out there. Pros, I see a lot of pros in this one because of the flexibility that these little shapes.
In terms of the form, how the logo is shaping out to be, like it has these little elements that are radiating outwards, which is a good symbolic representation of the journey that our fruits take to reach our end consumers.
The cons of it, I would say, one uncanny resemblance that I see right off the bat, because I was a lot into Pokemon, so it looks like a Pokeball.
It looks exactly like a Pokemon. But that is the first thought that comes to your mind when you see this, which is not a good thing when you want to build an association with the brand. And if there is an already existing association, now you are fighting to override that association.
It also kind of can alienate the existing customer base because this current abstract version does not look like Jurassic Fruit at all. And also, like, the founders had a very clear vision of reflecting a fruit somehow.
Right. You don't naturally think about a fruit when you look at this logo. So that is another drawback.
Overall, I think I quite like this one because it does give us the room to explore into a new possibility, which is again something that we're trying to do with this brand. Because if the founders, they do like to get into this direction, an abstract direction, then the possibilities with this kind of a shape are endless. So let's move on to the next one. The third one, this one is the illustration based logo. On the first look, it does encapsulate everything that we want to do with the brand. It's very authentic and warm. It has a hand-drawn sort of an element added to it. So it does have a human touch to it. It communicates the natural sourcing part also, which again embodies the purity of the fruit, the honesty of the brand. The major drawbacks that I see with this one would be that it is, at the end of the day, an illustration.
It also doesn't capture the premiumness of the brand. So it's more on the organic spectrum rather than the premium high-end fruits that we are sourcing. If this concept is finalized, then we'll probably have to look at it on how we can inculcate these qualities as well.
This is not a brand mark. So when we scale this up and down, like in small elements and in bigger elements, this will lose its complete essence. Think of it on a very small element like a fave icon on a website. So then it will lose its entire clarity. We wouldn't know what to put there.
But what I see, like especially for this kind of brand, we could go a little bit experimental, and we are providing wild fruits, and fruits have different shapes, forms, and they tend to lose it, so they are not perfect, right?
Yeah.
So our logo could also be a representation of that if we move ahead with this sort of a concept.
Let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the fourth one, which is a dinosaur paw. It does embody the whole Jurassic Fruit angle, and this one is quite memorable. It's quite bold, but yet again, this is not exactly a logo. This is still kind of in the illustration zone. But yeah, I quite like this one. It's a wild direction.
So this is more of an adventurous sort of angle that we can take for the brand. The drawback that I see is it's a little too far off from the current logo, and it would alienate the existing customer base, so they might not be able to relate to this new logo. So this is something that we'll have to keep in mind.
When I look at this logo, the major drawback that I see is this seems like a logo of a new adventurous brand. It does not embody a brand that is like 10 plus years old. That's the major apprehension. I would still love to present this direction to the clients, because if they choose this, then we are getting into a completely different sort of a ball game. So yeah, there is a lot of room to, of course, improve this. But as a concept, I think this is one of the strongest ones that we have. Moving on to the fifth concept, which I feel is the strongest and the safest one out of the lot. It is simple, it's scalable, it has the fruit element, it has the jagged lines, so it is doing a lot of good things for a logo. Yeah, I quite like this one.
Right, so this is the most balanced approach that the team has taken. So we haven't moved too far off from their existing logo. So we've used it as a base concept and then built on top of that on how this could be modernized, refined. So the overall silhouette still represents the durian fruit. The jagged lines give that rawness, wilderness feeling to it.
Also the JF monogram that has been added, it adds to the uniqueness of the logo, and in its current form also it can be used as a monogram. The problems I see with this one is it is too safe. It is minimalist. It is a very direct implementation of how Jurassic Fruit can look. And it does rely on this monogram JF for the distinction, because inherently there is no distinction in this logo.
Right. Might seem a bit generic without the JF monogram.
So let's take all of these to the client and see what they're thinking, and then maybe we can think about how we can refine these logos, how we can outweigh the cons and make the logos more filled with a lot of pros. But first, let's talk to the clients here.
As the exploration unfolded, Yogesh and Rahul walked the clients through the 5 distinct logo directions, each one interpreting Jurassic in its own way. From structured marks to more expressive forms, every concept pushed the idea a little further, testing how wild, how raw, and how refined Jurassic could feel while retaining the durian.
I like it also. It's simple. It's and the idea of joining the modern and ancient.
For me, I like this concept. I think that's my favorite.
But as the discussion with the clients evolved, one direction kept rising above the rest. The 5th logo, the one that captured everything the brand needed: character, movement, and the durian. With the logo finalized, it was time to expand its essence into a complete visual identity, a system that would carry the same spirit across every touchpoint. From colors and typography to texture and imagery, everything had to feel like an extension of the core idea: raw, real, and rooted in nature. And to achieve this, the team decided on 3 visual principles to explore.
So the first visual principle that we'll be following is Untamed, where we want to showcase the rawness of the fruit through the tactile and real flavors of the fruit.
We will be using the fruit imprints to show like natural textures as well as imperfections within a fruit. We have to encapsulate that essence because again the key principle is untamed. We don't want to kind of restrict it to a very glorified version of the fruit. It needs to look like a raw and authentic brand. The second core principle is the journey. The most important factor in this principle is that we have to show the real journey of a fruit from a specific farm to the actual table of the end consumer. And in this journey, every touch point feels alive. That essentially means it's the story of an entire flavor and not just the product.
Essentially what this entails is that we'll be using a lot of elements that shows the progression of a fruit from the initial stage to the end stage. So think of a lot of moving lines and curved lines in the design itself.
And the third visual principle is the jagged edges. This is picked up and inspired entirely from the logo that we have finalized. This will also symbolize the untamed and adventurous side of the brand, where we can add a lot of energy into the entire visual look and feel.
We are able to explore the wild side and we want to show that excitement that comes with having these exotic fruits. So those kind of emotions can also be tapped in with this visual principle.
Imagine walking into a coffee shop and ordering a new roast. So you can't be sure how it will taste like, but you still get an idea by reading the tasting notes. This is the kind of experience we wanted to have for Jurassic Fruit. So, taking inspiration from all the coffee and wine brands out there, we started creating our own system for the flavor profile of fruits. After our research, we figured that there are 4 parameters that would help us in expressing the taste or the flavor profile of the fruit. And those 4 parameters were texture, sweetness, sourness, and juiciness. We kept spectrums for each of the parameters so as to not make it very rigid. These guides just helped us in defining the overall profile so that people have a bit of guidance before ordering the fruits, and the sense of discovery and adventure was still being retained, but there was still some guidance with it.
The same idea of clarity and letting the fruit shine carried forward into our photography direction as well. But because Jurassic Fruit works globally and many shoots happen around the world, we needed a way to keep everything visually consistent. So, to maintain a consistent visual story across countries, seasons, and photographers, we needed to create a clear photography guide, a framework that ensures the brand looks unified even when shoots happen thousands of kilometers away.
We anchored photography around three pillars: wilderness, freshness, and authenticity. The first pillar, being wilderness, was all about embracing the imperfections that the fruits hold. For example, the red looking apple that you see in the supermarket is not the best or the most natural apple out there. In fact, natural or best tasting apples are supposed to be a little pale with sunspots on them and slight bruises as well. The second was freshness. This acted as a sensorial rush for us. We wanted to depict how the fruit was being plucked, how it had those morning dewdrops on it, and how it instantly looked fresh. We also wanted to show the act of cutting the fruit and revealing the cross section where the juice is dripping, and then someone holding it and maybe eating it to show how fresh and juicy it is. The last one was authenticity. It meant keeping it honest and real. So we made sure that the images included farmers, not just portrait shots, but also them doing the work. And it also has to include the team's images, how the team collaborates on a day to day basis, how fun they are. Like they all have a very jolly personality, which we wanted to bring out on the website as well to make it more human. And we also ensured to include a few loyal customers to this mix because we saw that most of our customers were very excited to shoot some UGC content, and we made sure that we're having them in the shoot as well. So, all of them sitting together on a table and enjoying the fruit like it's a feast in itself. We also added a section in our brand deck about what Jurassic Fruit is not, because defining what it's not is equally important as defining what it is. It just gives you a fence or a clear, safe space. We also broke our workflow into three segments: AI shoots, studio shoots, and outdoor shoots. So, AI workflows we added because there were a lot of backdrops that were not possible to shoot in reality. If we want to add dinosaurs to the image to add a visual hook, we made sure that we have AI workflows ready as well for such images. And the studio shoot was mainly for product images that would go on the product page of the website. And the third was outdoor shoot. Here we ensured that all the natural sunlight shots are being taken so that the real sense of fruit is being portrayed.
The visual identity of Jurassic finally came together. A cohesive world shaped by its logo, its system, and its raw, honest imagery. In this episode, we closed the gap between idea and expression. We explored logo directions, chose a refined version of the Durian mark that carried the spirit of the brand, following it up with structure, rules, and emotion that guide how the brand shows up. In the next episode, we take this identity into a digital space, shaping the UI and UX that bring Jurassic's world to life on every screen. If you're enjoying this journey, make sure to subscribe and follow along. This is Simple Plan Media, and you're watching Building a Brand Season 2.